In 2004, I then left the ACT Academy of Sport and actually set up FitSense with the aim of working in two main areas, and that was sports science, so continuing to do a bit of sports science work, and also branching out and doing a bit of work in corporate health. So I guess that's what I really wanted to cover tonight, is those two areas. First of all, I thought I'd cover the sports science, because when I left the ACT Academy of Sport, that was an area I already had a foot in the door, already had a knowledge of, and was already able to start working with some clients, I guess, that were outside of that government-funded structure. And that's probably one of the big differences, I guess, working in private to obviously in a position to what both Sarah and David have mentioned, is that unless I actually have clients, then I don't get paid to turn up to work. Sports science that we work in is monitoring player fatigue. So when I was at the ACT Academy of Sport, we did a lot of work with heart rate variability, which basically involves the athlete doing a short 5-minute test, wearing a heart rate monitor each morning, and then they'd actually lodge that data with us, and we'd look at that information. And we're actually looking at the heart rate variability, so the variation between individual beats, as opposed to just actual heart rate, and then being able to provide feedback back to either the athlete or the coach as to how ready that athlete is to train. So we continue to do that now, once again, with AFL teams predominantly, and basically what that involves is they're sending us through data on a weekly basis, where we'll look at the data and see how the athlete or the players trended throughout the week, how they've handled the game on the weekend, and therefore provide feedback on the type of training load they should undertake prior to the game coming up this week. I guess one of the big things that I've personally found with sports science is it's not really what you think it's going to be going into it. It's not all hanging out with athletes and doing cool, fun stuff. It's a hell of a lot of sitting behind a desk and looking at numbers and hours on end just churning through boring old data. So there's a lot of it that's not overly exciting, and I guess that's one thing that for anybody that I speak to who's interested in work experience in sports science, really try and make them aware of, that there is a huge amount of time that is really just churning through data. It's not exciting, you're not dealing with players, but it is an important role, and if you don't have your wits about you and you don't know what you're looking for, then you can miss things in that data that could potentially be beneficial. And then moving over to the other side of what a large portion of our work is now at FitSense, and that's in corporate health area, so completely different to sport. But I guess that it's a role that we use exercise physiologists heavily in there as well. And basically what we do there is we offer predominantly health checks for companies. So an organisation will employ us to go out on site and deliver health checks to their staff, mainly in a screening or preventative role. So staff might have access to, say, anything from a 10-minute to an hour-long health check, where we look at things such as their blood pressure, diabetes risk, cholesterol, injury prevention risk. So it really depends on what the organisation's after, and then provide feedback to that individual as to how they can improve their health and fitness, and ultimately try and ward off some of the things that Sarah mentioned, with actually full-blown diabetes or cardiovascular disease.